Okay. All of you are in Quantum Ascension. It's good to remind ourselves which group we are in and what kind of focus we are, in a way, expected. Okay. The Quantum Ascension. It's very crucial that we know exactly what it is now. Yeah. And as we discussed earlier, there could be, for those of you who didn't attend the earlier session, yeah, I was talking about the importance of focus. Because if there is a slight focusing on a different target, this 21st is the solar eclipse. Solar eclipse, what happened is you can, whatever that you focus on or you think of, when you put energy on, is multiplied 100 times average. Okay, so if you are unable to, see, our group targets is God realization. Okay, that's why, that's the purpose of us doing this. So we need to achieve. We need to achieve God realization. Of course, it's not easy previously. Now it's much more easier because of the planetary position, the groups, the world's energy, the entire world is shifting towards the fifth dimension. It's already established in the fifth dimension. And because of the Earth's movement, fast movement from third to fifth, there's a pool of energy. So a lot of people, if you focus on the right, if you focus on God realization, then you reach it. Because it's energetically, we are, this flow of energy is very fast. So it can go any direction, up to your mind actually. Yeah? So that's why there's a lot of emphasis now also to direct this energy towards creating a new world, a beautiful world, a world which is full of harmony with all the beings, insects, animals, human ancestors, and the earth. So all of this in harmony. Yeah. So this is what we are envisioning, and we are putting energy on this. And with this ascension energy, and if you all unitedly pray from the heart together, it's very easy to achieve. Because the energy is already there. So you just need to direct the energy towards that space. Yeah. So we are very lucky to have the cosmic craft to help us. Okay, and this cosmic craft is ready to fly very soon. So all of us need to really know our purpose. Yeah? Our purpose must be very strong. You must know exactly why. And this is why Swami has been emphasizing in even the Yagnam you do, or whatever Vedas you chant. I mean, even he's saying specifically about Rudram. Okay, so Rudram, if you do any programs, it should be for Atma Tattva, to realize the self. Yeah. And for us to realize the self is actually a very timely this is overdue. This is something which our main duty is this actually when we come on earth. Yeah, that's why Swami says, what's the first duty? What's your first duty? When you reach the earth, you are supposed to find out who you are. So when you come, you go home and you cry, who am I, who am I? And when you leave, you should be soham.
Sairam, voice is breaking.
Voice is breaking, huh? Okay. So when we leave, it should be soham.
Voice is breaking.
Okay. So sorry about that. Okay, we gotta stay together. Okay, so where were we?
Atmatma, the purpose of life here on earth.
Okay, so our first duty is actually to know who we are. Yeah, so this is a great chance for all of us to really know. It's not theoretically know. This is not a mind job. This is not something you just think you are doing and you're not doing. This is a real manifestation of oneness. So this manifestation of oneness is to be experienced. You need to experience it. Okay, let me know if I'm breaking again. I'll switch the device. Okay.
Yes, you are.
Huh?
Breaking.
You went off.
Went off, huh? Okay. All right, that means there's no picture. I'm gonna talk from here. Okay, can you?
Yes, sir. I can hear now. Oh God, again.
All right. Okay. Okay, so now I just need a quick run through, guys. We took off in the flight. We went to the 111. You are aware. Some of you are aware of it. It's okay. Energetically, we are as monad, so all are one. So we read 11 days and we actually performed something very different. Is the light came into us, and those who can envision a beautiful world, a new world, it was done. So they saw the new world. So there's a number of people who already saw the new world, and this is because this would give energy to it. And this vision is not ordinary vision, it's a vision from the solar flesh. So sight, the vision that comes through coming from solar flesh. Okay. And it was good, very good. And of course, there is another use of great solar flash, which I've been talking about. You know, use this to see God. This is an opportunity which doesn't come so often. Usually, I think you all know how many people actually is. Only a handful of people who got this vision. And this is a chance. This is a great chance to be able to actually see the Vishwarupa or the cosmic dance. You can actually, if you use the great solar flash on the direction of where the solar flash from, because that solar flash itself is Rudra, one. And if we were to be able to use that light to see him, it's a beautiful, really something which you will never forget. Because he is the cosmos. And if anything, from that vision, you will actually see the real teaching of Lavo Seva. Because that manifestation is unconditional and it's full and for everything. Really that, love or serve all, that's it, one. So we are to, understand and, this love or serve all, how deep it is, how great it is, and who it is. This you don't forget. It will be a very strong impact because it comes really heart to heart. This is really coming from the heart. So much of love radiating with so much of assurance, So that's why we need to kind of break it down and study it rays. One ray, the first ray can do second ray, third ray, fourth ray. So we can know the power of this. Otherwise, it will be just white light. And I ask some of you, have you seen the white light? Yes, I've seen it. But then why this thing didn't happen? Why that person didn't say like this? See? The white light is there. But we tend to disregard it. We tend to underestimate the powers of this. So there is an attempt to break it down, like 12 rays. Each ray or 7 rays, and each what kind of power, what kind of ability, and how it can help you in so many ways. Just like a Hindu god or any god for that matter, they have many things. Some they carry, like Lord Ganesha, he carries a tusk and wrote the scriptures, and he has the corn, he has a rat as a vehicle. Why would an elephant have a rat as a vehicle? See, this is something which triggers our curiosity. We at least become curious. So when we are curious, we start researching and we start paying attention and start focusing on it. Otherwise, we won't focus. Our mind will go somewhere else. So this ray, this great solar flash, is the Lord Himself. It's Rudra, and we approach it in that manner, in a humble manner, in a loving, devotional, surrendering manner. And we are very lucky to seems to know how to at least verbalize all of this through Rudra. So we are definitely blessed to be in this position, and I think there will come a time where we will be traveling again towards that space, and I hope, okay, we can do some, of course, we can do some projection sharing of the new Earth, and after that, turn around and see where the light is coming from, and we do a prayer at that time. How is that? Is this a good idea?
Yeah, very good. Good idea, Julie.
Yes, brother.
Yes.
Wow. The 5 voices. I think the rest is maybe not so convincing.
Oh, yes. Yes, brother, definitely.
I'm listening.
Okay, well, see, I for this kind of, if you have really heard what Swami told someone who really wants to see God and to merge with God, Swami have told before, this guy was waiting few nights outside the door, and he doesn't bother this guru. And after that, the 5th night or something, he said, "Oh, you want to moksha? I want to merge with God." He went to the well and pushed his head inside. Comes up grasping for breath, and he pushed again. 3 times he did like this. And that person asked, why are you doing this? He said, your yearn, my yearn. Then you get it. Requires yearning, longing, because we need that energy, we need that strength to hold it. Otherwise, the vision is very fast. You get distracted, extremely fast. It may be less than a split second. You will another world. This is what I want to talk. So, in the journey while we are going towards the 1111 base, I have told you all this before. I think at that time maybe it doesn't ring any bell, but it will happen because we are passing in a cosmic crew. We are passing a lot of monads. Monads can be in the form of planets and of civilization, can be in the form of huge energetic body. These are all these. They are huge. Their resonance is very high. Okay. So I have told already, the chance for you all to be able to be attracted and be downloading directly from the monad is very high. You all remember that? So that's what happened. A number of you connected to the monads and started raising that you are from there, started recognizing that the information that you know about that is being downloaded upon you. Okay? I can give some examples. Some of you resonated with the Ectorian monad. You start realizing that you're connected to Ectoris, and you know that, and you can start receiving information from there immediately. And you started seeing a lot of energetics coming in, and you feel connected. All right, this is one. Then there is also from Saraya is there, and there is some a very colorful world is there, and there's another one from a water world. So all this your own connection, and you feel some kind of resonance, and you get attraction to. So I'm the somewhat the crew, the one who need to inform you all exactly where you're at. We need to come back because we have here. Okay, this one I've told again also before that this is happening, and we have a mission. We need to do something. Okay, so all need to come back to the spacecraft, and we need to center out at 1111 base. Okay, can we do that?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of Zoom. All right, that's good. Okay, so now integration time. This integrate. I'm going to help all of you to integrate. Okay. Now, the attraction that you have energetically, a lot of times due to the past. Past means it can be childhood or even beyond that. It can be previous birth. So there's some kind of energetic influence there. Okay. Now, this energy you have to be aware. To be aware of this energy, we can think. If you are not aware, you not do anything actually, because it's part you, or at least you thought it's part of you. Yeah, this is some kind of the energy is running. It's like a wire. It's like a life. So we need to understand that this is energetically only part of you. It's not you originally. Is from consciousness. All us here is consciousness. Okay, and this is cosmic consciousness. This is some. I mean, consciousness is this everywhere, but we need more speak. It's at that space that we are able to expand. From the earth, your expansion is limited. Your range is far because it's due to activity, your bodily activity. So you are most of the time familiar with certain range. So if you do it from earth, your expansion not okay. Now, you need to identify to that. You know that came from that space. We from that space. From that space, we came onto earth to have a human experience. But we need to know where we came from, so then we can go back. You know, even do often. We can go to our cosmic space and come to Earth, then go to next space. You know, there's more flexibility, there's more fluidity, and the energy is nice. You will feel good because it's a connection between your higher self and your lower self. If there's action, there's a flow, kind of, it's like there's a circulation going on. It's like a body good circulation. Yeah, some of you did. A bad circulation can cause what kind of problem? So when there's a good circulation, and also this, your cosmic body, your body is healthy. It's a very beautiful thing. Yeah. So we need to identify and to become in this way. Yeah, it's not a one-sided way. This is the balanced way. This is where it's integrated. Your cosmic self and your physical self is integrated consciousness. It's not a separate one. This is very important because a lot of people, they separate it. Once they separate it, it's either one side, one is a bit, it's better for balance, to balance this energy. Okay. All right, half an hour. Okay, I think I'm pretty much done. Now you just need to, this Quantum Ascension group, right, in your WhatsApp, all those that you have posted freely for the last 2-3 days, all those are your monads. Whatever you posted, that's from your monad. Those are messages from your monad. It's nice to know, to connect to this. You feel energetically, you feel some kind of energy coming through from this post, which you feel about. These are all also coming from a resonance in space. So now, what I'm here to remind all of you is to remember the mission of the craft. Okay? So all of you, you have to remember yourself because, this is something personal also. Yeah, your personal involvement is also important here. So if all of us can remember that we are here for realization, and we are going towards this one focus, and to pull yourself away from the monad. Okay, pull yourself away first. These are beautiful resonance. I know how wonderful it can become. I know that many people want to stay there and don't want to come back, but please come this side first. Okay, come this side. Let's finish our job, because this solar eclipse is coming. It's better for us to just focus now and to really benefit from this. Yeah, for others also. So let's go into this and let the crew guide, because there, and because there's so many posts that it overshadows the crew. The crew posts certain things written, so others and some couldn't find. Okay, so please pull yourself from the moment and relax and stay crew, because crew will be sending information to the group so that you can up and follow. Yeah, follow, because if crew is sending those materials are usually you won't lost. It's easy to look and you know which the one wanted, and some of this very important material, so important that you need to use every day. I'm sure you kind of lost that already. So we need to reduce the influence, focus on this craft, and entire quantum of pet the form is actually become a curve. Okay, so we can off. Or I think I've deleted a message. Brother Ha, are you there?
Saram, everyone. Yes, Brother Julius, I'm here.
Awesome, awesome. It's yours.
Somebody's saying connection is bad. Is that, can everyone hear us?
I'm hearing you.
Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you loud. Brother
Yes.
Julius' connection was a bit intermittent.
Okay.
Oh my
Okay.
yoga. Hold on. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So we got everyone on board. Good. Good. Yes. Somebody says connection goes off. Okay. So welcome everyone. Thanks for being here once again. And for those of you who were there yesterday, we had a meditation at the end. So if you do have any questions or any guidance you need on integration of what we talked about yesterday, or if you thought of any questions or something that you need clarity on, I will be happy to serve you the best way I know right now. The reason I offer this session for clarity is that as we progress, it's good to have whatever doubts cleared so we could make rapid progress. So if there is anything you want to discuss from yesterday that you probably didn't feel like after the meditation, or you thought of it later on, we could do that now. Let me know. And then we could go on to however we feel guided today.
What was the
Uh,
topic? Sorry, could you just summarize it, please?
Well, it's kind of hard to summarize. This is only for people who were there yesterday, because it's pretty much fixing your vision, but it's not something I could summarize. It was a 2-hour talk, so it's about fixing your vision for your mission.
Okay.
Saha,
Yes.
can
But
we
that
do the meditation again so that uh, anyone joined now can also see that?
I don't feel guided to do a meditation today. That was
No,
it
that
was an
one
impromptu.
which we have done yesterday.
You're talking about the one we did yesterday.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yesterday
yeah.
before.
But yeah, it kind of came as a follow-up to the discussion we had yesterday. So it probably, I don't feel inclined to do that today, but just want to see if anybody have any questions or anything they want to discuss from yesterday's talk, because we went straight into the meditation. So that's why I wanna offer this time before we go into a topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we have an audio of yesterday's talk, if you don't mind?
Okay, I will check with Brother Chulan or Brother Julius.
Yeah.
I do not record, so
I got
do
it
we
up.
have a copy?
Yes, I posted up. So
Okay, great, great. So yeah, so you could listen to that at your leisure and see what you can pick up from that.
Yes.
So great. So I assume that there are no questions that need to be answered from yesterday. And So I will take this time because yesterday's kind of like an extension from yesterday's topic. Yesterday's topic was, you know, um, healing your vision for your mission. And I would like to expand on healing more because healing is not always um, talking about a physical healing from an ailment. Our healing takes place in our mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical bodies. And the most important of that being the mental body. And all the ailments we suffer actually starts at the mental plane. And at the mental level, it does not get resolved. It becomes an emotional problem. When that's not resolved, it starts appearing in our physical body. And when things are happening in our physical body, that's kind of the way of getting our attention right away because pain is usually associated with the physical symptoms. And when these three bodies are not healed, it's difficult for us to move on in our spiritual body, in our spiritual path. So the mental healing is so important. And today I want to share with you a couple of tips on how to clean this mental space. So just want you to look back at your lives and just see how we work this. Um, in any given day, we probably would have 2 showers and we'll go to the bathroom a few times. We'll brush our teeth, wash our face, wash our hands. We'll have clean clothes and we'll have a clean room, a clean plate to eat on, and clean cutlery and crockery and pots and pans. And we pretty much spend a lot of time on cleaning our external body and also whatever we use, right? It's almost second nature. We would take a cup, we'll wash it, a dish, a bowl, a spoon, and we constantly do that. But when it comes to cleaning our mental body, we are not so fast. We just kind of let it be there, and it gets pretty messy without us even knowing at times, and we don't even know where things started, and um, and it's been there for years sometimes. And also we carry on these imprints from past lives too. So while we have a lot of things to deal with to clear, one of the best ways is, I touched upon this yesterday as a tip as well, is every hour to see where your energy went in that hour. And it's a wonderful way of seeing where you were vibrating at. Now, a lot of you have heard about, law of attraction and manifesting what you want and attracting what you want, which is true, very true. And why people have difficulty in that manifestation is because they are not always maintaining that same frequency. At 1 minute, they could be fully focused and they're at high vibration, and in the rest of the day they could oscillate between depression and extreme joy. And if we look at our daily lives, most of the times we oscillate between these vibrations. Hour to hour we will feel joy, happiness, sadness, depression, anger, frustration, love. All these things will come in. It's like a big buffet of emotions, and we need to pick and choose which ones we want to entertain. And based on the quality of the emotions we entertain, we end up raising ourselves to a high vibration or getting stuck at a lower one. And it's happening almost automatically. It's not like we say, all right, I'm going to do this now. But sometimes even we have that thought, we will find ourselves somewhere else and say, how did I even get here? So that means there was a little lapse in our security, that some thought came in and somewhere in our awareness we were resonating with that vibration, and then we got carried away into that. And sometimes it's nothing to even do with you. It's some world affair. It's some, some political crisis somewhere, or it's about two of your friends having an argument. It's not even your business. And you're caught up in that, and you all of a sudden feel that lost and confused and depleted of energy. And this happens many a times without even knowing. So it's important to see where every hour where we were. And then you say, all right, okay, where did I go wrong? What caused me to arrive at this place right now? And why am I feeling this way? Now, once we do that on a regular basis, it becomes kind of like another habit. And all of a sudden, you don't even really have to start doing that, because you will naturally choose the high vibration because your body knows how it feels. That's the beautiful part. Now, if you look at a certain emotion that you've been holding on to, right, for years, how does it feel in our body? Does it make us feel good? Does it make us feel miserable? I know from my own experience, if you hold on to anger or grief or sadness or jealousy or any other resentment, it actually spoils your present moment, and you feel weak. You don't, you can't sleep well. Whatever you eat doesn't taste good. You could be at a beautiful place, but you can't appreciate it. And you actually feel depleted and robbed of your happiness. And um, so so this is where we have to understand that we are not in the best place. But if we continue to hold on to it, this is where it becomes, from the mental plane, prolonged thoughts of negativity. Then they become emotional, and once that becomes emotional, it's more difficult to deal with it. And all the other negative emotions are all related to one of these. And it's even very difficult for us to explain how we are feeling, because we are so lost in these emotions now. And once we get caught up in that, it's very difficult to focus on something, or to do anything, even your job, your relationship with your family, with your friends. Everything gets spoiled. And even if you want to fix it, you don't even know really where to start, because all of them are related. And you don't even know why you lost your cool. What triggered you to snap at someone, or to say something or do something that is not you. So when we still don't have this result, it's going to manifest in our physical body, and we start getting ill. People start having back pains, knee pains, shoulder pains, neck pains. Headaches are very, very common. Then people have issues with their digestive system. They can't really eat, or whatever they eat, they can't hold. Some people feel weak all the time. And all kinds of physical problems come in to the system. And in extreme cases, people start getting cancers and tumors because the toxicity is so high. The blood acidity is very, very high, and constant periods of anger and frustration and resentment is changing the body chemistry. Now, if there is a cancer cell, this is the perfect time for it to start growing, because now there's plenty of food in the body. And then people will go in and get diagnosed, and they will get a diagnosis along with the prognosis, and they start believing the prognosis, and they start getting angry, more angry at the disease, and then they start feeling more frustrated, desperate. Some people have anger towards the entire world, and it becomes a vicious cycle. So this is how it pretty much works. It goes from your thoughts to your emotions, and if you don't deal with the emotions, it starts getting physical with you. So it's very important on a daily basis to have that inner hygiene. It's actually more important than even taking your daily bath. Yes, you could survive without a bath for a few days. I've done that when I went camping, 1 week without a shower, and finally get into a waterfall and wash it all off. Um, but more than that, the emotional aspect, the mental part that we go daily is so important to clean that. Uh, because once it gets too complicated, it's quite difficult to remove that. And another danger is that when people experience this prolonged, unresolved mental activity, which becomes emotional, then becomes physical, it starts becoming their story. I know some people, the first thing you talk to them and they'll tell you a list of things that's wrong with their body and what medications they're on and when was their last doctor's visit and how terrible the pain he or she's having. They can't even talk about anything else. Their entire narrative is about, I'm sick and I've got this surgery done and my doctor gave me this and I take this medication and that one and all the stats about it. And they get into a loop where they can't even talk about anything else. And then they say, well, this is my karma. I'm stuck here. And what can I do? I must be a terrible person. And I don't know why I got this. And they'll start feeling, the victim mode. So it's a vicious cycle that we get caught on if we are not careful to remove these. So there's two parts to it. One is to have good security and find out which thoughts do you entertain. And if one slips through and get into your operating system and troubles you, then we got to do our check and uproot that so it doesn't become a huge emotional problem. But on a daily basis, what's the fastest way of avoiding this? Because we all will trip, we all will fall in this journey. Everybody is still trying to work things out from this life and also from emotional baggage from past lives. So it's not just in this life. Um, so the best way to do this is to take a review of your day. If you can do the hourly thing, end of the day, before your meditation or whatever the practice you do, just take 10 to 15 minutes to see how your day was and just see what were the highlights. What were the moments where you were in full joy and gratitude and love for this entire creation? And what were the times where you kind of felt indifferent? And what were the times that you felt, pretty low and you didn't feel your best? And if it involved an unresolved problem with someone, maybe there's an argument somewhere and not so nice words were exchanged, or somebody complained something about you or your business or whatever you're doing as a profession or in a personal level, and you started reacting to it, and or you had another dispute where you were pretty rude to someone. These are the common ones, and you got to instantly recognize that and forgive yourself right away. It starts with forgiving yourself. If you say, well, I'm a spiritual person, I'm a Baba devotee, or I'm a great Christian or a good Hindu, and I'm so terrible for now feeling this way, it's not going to help you. You have to smile and say, ooh, today was not so smart. I fell into this trap, and you thank yourself for alerting you and now letting you see this problem and forgive yourself. And if the other person is not nearby, just visualize them, we all know most of the time how the other person looks like. You pull up their picture in front of you and tell them, hey, I'm sorry for acting from my lower level of awareness today. I love you. Please forgive me. And let's make it better. Now, when you do that from your heart, your whole body chemistry changes. Whatever the emotional charge that you were still holding on to gets reduced to a greater extent, or sometimes just completely falls off. And at the same time, the other person may not be on the phone with you, but they will also feel some kind of relief because your thoughts and vibrations are reaching them. And the next time you happen to speak to them, it'll be easier because light body to light body, you have already resolved the problem. And this is a wonderful technique of doing that. Um, and once you let go of that charge, when you do have to resolve that, you will be much more focused, and you can come from a point of love and compassion than trying to prove that you were right and they were wrong. Many a times when people try to apologize and make things work, it somehow ended up being who was at fault and who did what, and who was blaming who. And it leads to another argument. And if that doesn't get resolved there, they'll start pulling things up from the past and say, well, 2 years ago, too, you did this. And somebody, well, 5 years ago, you did this. So it's better to do that. So every day, it's important to see where you were during that 24 hours. Well, you're not fully awake entire 24, but the time you were active before you go to bed. Because if you go to sleep with all these thoughts and tension, it goes into our subconscious mind. And when this happens all the time, that becomes another behavioral pattern that just starts getting on, how to say, autopilot mode. And we start living from our habits. So it's so important to, while you work on, I mean, most of the times we will think about, yeah, maybe in a past life we did this. Yes, it's true, we have. But those memories are hard to access unless you do some kind of deep meditation or regression. Um, you don't really have access to them. But what happened a few hours ago, or during that day, or even the day before, it's still fresh in your mind, and you could resolve that. So it's a way of. Yesterday we talked about responsibility, and responsibility means the ability to respond. So instead of reacting, we respond to it, we deal with it, because pushing it under the rug is not going to help. And say, well, yeah, I don't want to deal with this, and this person sucks, and it's never going to get worked out. We tried before, and we put it aside. It's going to come back in another relationship. It could be business, could be personal, but it'll keep on, popping up. So this is what we need to do on a daily basis to see where we stand. And if you invest your energy in things you want to manifest, not just for your personal sake, but for the entire world. Brother Julius was saying, visualize the new age, the new world. Yes, it's already here. These new inventions, this technology that's going to give us free energy, and the way we do our farming, the healthcare, all this is already here. Only thing we need to do is to raise our consciousness so we could launch it. It's already there. So we have a responsibility to vibrate at that high level so that everyone can benefit. Every person's effort on the path counts, because as they raise their vibration as an individual, they're also helping the collective. And this is how we grow together. So it's no longer about, well, I'm going to disappear to a cave and find my liberation. No, we are living in modern times, in cities, doing work, having families. All these are part of our growth. And if we start seeing it as, well, here's my spiritual life, the 2 hours after everything is done, kids are in bed, and now I have my half an hour, and now it's time to say my 3 ohms and breathe. Well, it's nice. You can do that. There's absolutely no problem with it. But once you have that awareness going on constantly maintaining that high vibration, your day becomes much more nicer. It becomes, it's such an easier way of doing things. Things just unfold. You will not get moved and pushed and pulled with the energies. And by you being there, you can even help others who have lost their way. Many a times I've found that if I have, in an uncomfortable situation somewhere, um, I could intervene with love, and it just get dissolved. Um, you're not taking anyone's side, but in a non-judgmental way, you offer your help and say, hey guys, what's going on? Can I help in any way? And many a times it's beautiful. People smile and it's all good, and they walk off. So we have that power when we are constantly maintaining that high vibration for us to help others to dissolve the conflicts they have, either in person or even remotely. It's so powerful. So this is something we all have to work on, because in the coming days, why I'm stressing on this, in the coming days, we're going to see many more things unfolding in front of us as part of our co-creation of the new earth. The old systems have to be dismantled. And when we're dismantling this, it's like, when they start cleaning up an old house, or they start demolishing that, they might find, all sorts of things in that property. So likewise, when we are seeing the dissolution, the dismantling of the old systems, we are going to encounter things that can really make us angry, frustrated, even resentful, for companies, to individuals, to governments, to businesses, to individuals who had played their roles. And if we get caught up in that, we are going to miss this beautiful moment of ascension. So it's so important to practice these, to correct our vision, and to be in this middle ground and eternal witness, knowing that you are God and everyone else is God, and everything is unfolding as per a divine plan, because these facts that come in can really tip us in the other side. And if we happen to be at a workplace or a family or a social setting with lots of people with polarized views, we can easily get sucked into it. But if we are maintaining this light and having the higher awareness, we can help so many around us to escape that vicious cycle, and to help them through as well. So this is so important. We start practicing this. The only way we can do that is to go on a daily routine of seeing where you are in your vibration. We can have these talks every night or every afternoon. It's great. It's a team effort. It keeps us, elevated. Our questions get answered, and we create wonderful, loving environment for everyone here. And we keep each other in check. But for the hours that we are not in touch, when you're going about, I'm saying this because I've heard many questions. People are saying, well, what happens when I'm at work or when I'm at home, when I'm doing my business? Well, this is the time we had to start seeing oneness. We were taught that, work life, spiritual life. Yes, it's true. At a label level, yes, they may look different. But if you add the sweetness of love to whatever you do, well, then it's pretty difficult to see a difference. Everything you do is an offering to God, and you are not concerned about the outcome of it, because your desire is for the greater good. Um, so little things starts happening in your life, and one of the best things I've discovered with my own self is that the number of times I complain. Before it was, wow, epidemic. I mean, I would find something to complain about. And it was toxic to myself to begin with, because I realized that this is not being smart or cool, or some, want to feel special because you complain about everything. You're actually trouble for yourself and to those around you. and when you stop doing that, the amount of relief you feel, and more energy that you have within you. Complaining, it takes off a lot of energy. And while it takes off, it does another thing. It stops us from receiving the full bandwidth of divine love to us. So it's like you're depleting what you already had in your system, and you're also stopping the free flow of divine love to your system. So it really drains you out in many ways. So this is why it's so important just to see every hour where you are, and even keep a journal. In the beginning, if it gets confusing, just write things down, like just so you can review and see, then you could really work on those emotions. And then you will start seeing a pattern, and why a certain thing somebody said was so powerful that you actually wanted to punch them. Where did that come from? Where did that view first came to you? Where did you learn that? And as you start peeling the layers of the onion, you'll arrive at an answer that maybe it was something that was taught to you as a kid, or maybe at your school or at your family, and now you believe so much in that, and you start tripping each time you hear this, and you don't even want to hear another person's point of view because you've already made up your mind. And so this is where I strongly feel that we need to work on. Yes, even our meditations, everything become much more effective when you do this routine of taking care of things as it happens and just letting go, and honoring that, because your heart will thank you. Your mind in the beginning will resist, but your heart will thank you for honoring that inner feeling. And once you practice that, that becomes easier. It becomes easier for you to understand things and stop yourself from falling down, and helping yourself and others around you. In other words, if you can't really add love, at least you're not adding hate to the mix. So it's still way better. You just stop, and you add love, and from there you could build on. So this is what I want to share with the group. And I would like to check if anybody has any issues that they're struggling with, if they feel brave enough to talk about. Don't feel shy. This is a safe group. And sometimes the question you ask, I've found that many a times that what is asked through you is actually helping the entire group. It's not just about you. When you are prompted to ask a question, at times it actually answers the concerns of many others in the group. So that being said, if anybody has any thing they want to share, or they have a situation that they want some guidance, we could do that now.
When do you set boundaries?
Okay, so it depends on the situation. It's not like one boundary applies to everything. It's a good question, because setting boundaries doesn't mean you're limiting love. So this is where we get to understand the difference. Setting a boundary is very important because you are responsible for your sanity. But also, before you set a boundary, you got to see where it's coming from. Is it coming out of fear, or is it coming out of love and respect? So no one can hurt you or make you feel bad or take away your power if you are not allowing that. Now, everybody deserves the same love and respect. And if you feel that you are being abused, first thing to understand is putting the blame and said, what part of this abuse am I contributing to? Many of the times people like to play the victim mode. Oh yes, this person is so abusive, but at which point did you allow that? At which point did you start believing a false story of someone and gave your power away? So when it comes to setting boundaries, it's very important. It's to protect your space, but you got to understand the motivation for doing that. Is it coming out of fear, or is it coming out of love for both of you? So sometimes if you don't want to talk during an argument and you go for a drive, that's great. That's a way of diffusing the argument. You just, take a drive. And when you come back, you could talk about it. There's no point being there and talking. But it depends on each situation. There's no you know, okay, this is the time, and you know, it's not like baking a cake. Every problem, every situation is unique, and depends how long they've been having this relationship, and how long the problem has gone unresolved. And also, when you set the boundaries, how you communicate that. So it's so important how, you know, if you going it as, okay, I'm going to put this because you're always this, versus you find middle ground and say, how about we do this so we could both, you know, be at a better place. So you're not really pointing a finger, but just you take responsibility from your side for playing your part, and say, look, you know, I've been finding this, and how about we do this from now on? Each time we get to this situation, we will do this. What do you think of that? So you could always communicate that boundaries in a loving way, so it allows people to grow. But if it comes from a point of condemnation and say, look, from now on, you're not allowed here, or you can't do this, or then it's not really solving the problem. You could be firm in your conviction, but you could communicate that in a loving way that allows that person to also learn and grow, and more importantly, allowing yourself to learn and grow. But there is no blanket say, when do you do this? It all depends on what you feel and where you are, because you know exactly inside your contribution to something, and why things are that way. I hope it gave you some insight into coming up with your boundaries.
Yes.
Bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for your sharing, Julius. You were talking about my life experience, sort of speaking. I'm very much touched with it and grateful. Thank you very much, Sairam. And because of that, Vihyanah Marakalaya, no? Tan Taravana Mehe Oketaya, Lena Nanahata, Et Haramana, Ech Karoho Tarnya Davaha, Emya Mahatak Troyananaha, Lehya Kiatana, Inteyo Entava Hanaka. And for the end, I want to say that in the end, there are no boundaries. Boundaries are only in our minds. Real boundaries doesn't exist. Thank you very much. Namaste, sir.
Very true. Very true. You're very advanced. That's where we need to go. And it's like boundaries are kind of like the training wheels you have on your bicycle when you first learn to ride the bicycle. But after some time, you don't need them. You're fully comfortable in your skills of riding your bicycle.
Yes,
So
right.
at some point, they need to go.
Sairam.
Sairam.
Sairam,
Sairam.
I felt like you were speaking about me when you were introducing the topic about, getting, every hour find out how you're feeling. Today I was at work this morning and I was fine. I was fine right until I got to the front door. And when I got to the front door, it's like something just heavy came over me. And then I walked through the front door and I was snapping at everybody. And then I went and I had a shower and I came down and I was still feeling that, the heaviness. And then Vikash came and said, come on, the class is starting. And I said, you go to the class. I'm not learning anything from the class. Look at me, look at how I'm reacting. and I went into the bathroom and I started cleaning the bathroom and then I came back and I sat down here. And as I was doing something on the computer, I was listening to you. And I said to Vikash, is he talking about me? Is he here in the room and talking about me?
Stop video.
So did it calm down.
Well, I'm glad you joined, because there are days like that. We got to be, forgiving to ourselves, because we are, as we work through this and letting go of what we are not, it's like cleaning a white shirt. You know, some dirt patches are not coming off the first wash. You might have to hand treat it and you know, use some special solvent to get them out. But once you spot it, we start cleaning it. So there are days like that, and the important thing is when you feel that way, um, you need to transmute it. So if you feel, all right, fine, you know, mind, you're upset for whatever the reason, I'm going to give you 10 minutes to get over it. And after that 10 minutes, you switch the station because you got the power for it. If not, the mind will keep on playing that station until it finds another one. So, all right, fine, you're unhappy for whatever the reason. I'm not going to really worry about it. But in 10 minutes, I'm going to switch the station and we're going to listen to something better. So this is where we got to consciously switch. And when we are on the path, we will have challenges. The test will be even greater. But the more we practice, the better tools we will have to take care of it. And I don't know how you were in the past when you were dealing with things, but if you look back and say, well, in the past, maybe a year ago, or 2 years ago, 5 years ago, even 2 months ago, if I felt this way, how long would it take me to bounce back? And now if you find it shorter and it, you know, it didn't drain you so much of your energy, wow, then it's a reason to celebrate. You've done well. You made progress. Yes, you did slip, but you got up faster. So once you do that, it's positive reinforcement, and you also know in your body, the muscle memory, it knows, wow, that felt good. Letting go felt good. So once your body knows that good feeling of letting go, it will help you to control your mind, because most of the tension gets stuck in our physical body.
So
So
when you
good job.
sorry,
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt. I'm like, when you
no.
say switch for, you know, let the mind do what it wants for 10 minutes and switch. How, what would we do to switch?
Well, you call the shots. It's like, see, the if you're not in charge of the mind, it will take you on another trip and another one. It's endless. So if you, what I'm trying to say is, if you can't have a hard break, like you were shaking in anger, or you were really snapping at everyone, as you said,
Hmm.
better not to engage with people and tell yourself, all right, fine, you're upset for whatever the reason, but you get 10 minutes to deal with it, mind. In 10 minutes, I'm going to be happy. You already are, but you're just giving yourself some time in the beginning, that you're telling, look, whatever the tantrum you're throwing, in 10 minutes, you're done with it, because it's not serving me anything afterwards. It's not serving me now. I'm just letting you cool down. But in 10 minutes, I'm going to fix myself a cup of coffee and ask Vikash if he wants one too. And that's it. Fresh start. So what happens most of the time is that when we don't put a time limit, uh, you know, I'm not saying you to just brush it away, but you give yourself time to work it out. And the more you do that, you can give less and less time. At some point, you don't even need any time. Almost within seconds, you'll feel, oh, that was stupid. I'm not going to go there. And it'll come back as a reflex. So until such time, when you get caught up in stages like this, you say, all right, 10 minutes, that's it. You know, afterwards, I'm switching the station. And we can all do that. And one of the best ways of doing that is to go to a moment of gratitude. Just focus on all the good things that are in your life. And when you see that, when you feel that, whatever that lack or limitation or frustration you had goes away, because you go, wow, I got so much going on for me right now. Rather than focusing on that and snapping and ruining my day, wow, I got so much more going. And you could change your focus, and you become more present, and life is great again. So if it's a problem, yes, it will still be there, but you'll put yourself in a better position to deal with that without an emotional charge. So you could revisit the problem. If you had to reply to something or to make a phone call or whatever it is, you'll be doing it in a much more focused way, without an emotional charge. So this is, you basically allow yourself to cool down, to recenter before you move forward. But first thing, forgive yourself. That's it, um, because it's normal for that to happen.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brother,
Brother
how do you
Sarah?
get out of this? Sorry.
Yes.
Go on,
Um,
sister.
May I suggest one thing that helps me, and maybe that would help Sister Shilpa too? Is that
Sure,
okay?
please go ahead. Yes, of course. All tools are welcome.
So, sometimes when we are upset, and even if we tell the mind, I'm not going to deal with your tantrum anymore, one thing that might help is try to go outside, take a deep breath, focus on your Anahata chakra or the heart chakra, and let out that love to the world. If you do it a few times, there is an expansion of consciousness, and that evokes a positive emotion, a positive response.
Brilliant. Thank you. I will. A couple of weeks ago when we had the solar flare, so that just a day before, I was in one of these. I just couldn't understand what it was. It just all of a sudden overcomes me, and there's no apparent reason. It just I don't understand myself, and neither can Vikash. We both can't understand what comes over me. And then I went outside. I sat. I was with the Mother Earth, and everything was happening, but it just I think I just need to control the mind more. But yes, definitely I will do.
Beautiful. Yes. Go out, take a deep breath. Breath is the number one thing to slow your system down, and you'll figure out the best way to work it out. But whatever it is, all I want to drive home the point is, do not let it carry on from hour to hour. I was a professional in doing this, so I know how toxic it can get. so, but if you could cut down that emotional charge, then you find great relief in letting go.
It does feel amazing when you let go. I can vouch for that. But oh God, it doesn't. It's not nice when you're going through it. And I think
Yes.
for the family it's worse because there's only the three of us, and Vikash gets the brunt of it. The little one doesn't know what's happening.
True.
But
True. It's
yeah.
yes. But the good thing now is, Shilpa, that you are aware of it, so you could be more conscious of it. And when you have time, when you have calmed down, you can say, all right, where did it start exactly? What made me act that way? And in that, you might get some clues. And if it happens again, or if you remember something very powerful that happened even a week ago or a month ago, you can say, wow, there is a link. Each time I allow this is what happens. And so it gives you that clue to work on, and you become more aware of the emotions that you're struggling with. And yes, but you caught yourself, so that itself is a great achievement. A lot of people don't realize that. So
I
you've
think
done well to catch yourself.
I think it's only because I have a very good husband who's catching me all the time.
Wow, that's fantastic. And that's the ultimate purpose of a marriage, to help each other in the spiritual growth. Everything else, the roses for Valentine's and whatever the holiday spots are just little things. But the main part is to help one another on their spiritual path. So it's beautiful. Well done, Vikash.
No, it's nothing to congratulate me on. Anyone can see what's going on and sense what's going on. It's getting the brunt. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'm at a loss as to what to do to help her let go or to see what's wrong, because she'll want to hold on to it, like for hours and hours and days sometimes. And even if you suggest something, you'll get a pan thrown at you or something, right?
Never. It's never had a pattern.
Okay, maybe not that extreme. But how to deal with, I mean, how to even bring it up in a positive way, because even if you try and bring it up, you'll get snapped at, and it's like, well, you know what to do. Maybe it's just best to be quiet for a while until it all just
Yeah, well,
matures and leaves itself, sort of thing. You know what I mean? I mean,
well, I can share something with you guys. What came through a quantum healing hypnosis
Sometimes.
session, not one of my sessions, but this was done by another practitioner. And when the higher self was asked about, actually the ego self was asked, ego self started speaking instead of the higher self in that time. And one of the tips it gave was to laugh at the situation, not at the person. So, for example, one of you lose your cool and starts complaining, and it gets pretty toxic. And as you said, you can't even suggest anything. The advice it gave was just break into laughter, but do not laugh at the person. Just say, wow, what a crazy situation we're in, and just laugh at the situation. Now, I haven't tried that, but it's the guidance that came through, and it said it has. So because when we are angry, we are also expecting a certain reaction from someone, and if they don't have that reaction towards what we are doing, we get more angry. So it's a nicer technique, I think, in just seeing the stupidity of getting angry and kind of shocking your mind. So you guys could try that if it comes again. And the other one I suggest is the hug. It's a very powerful tool, and of course, being husband and wife, you guys can easily do that. It's not like a stranger at a mall that you want to go and hug. So just hug, heart to heart, left side to left side, and just take a deep breath. And the power of the heart can heal this tension. It's just like a crying baby, right? But soon as a mother holds the baby near her heart, sometimes they even fall asleep right away. That's how powerful the human heart is. So whatever we cannot express from words in the chatter in the mind, um, the two hearts come together and it feels wonderful. And both parties heal right away. It's an instant reset. So yeah, you could try that as well, and share your experience, because then we can share with others.
May I say something, Brother Saha? This is Jayashree.
Sure, please go through.
Yeah, I was just listening to Brother Vikas, how I'm just talking from my perception, like when somebody is like, we, as Brother Saha was saying, we are not hurt because of somebody's actions, but we were vulnerable at that moment and giving them the power to hurt us. That's my understanding. That's about it. And then I am the one who is hurting myself, and I am the best healer for myself. So if anybody externally trying to use the best words may not actually work, instead of the silence is the best method for the closed, very close people who are trying to help. It's not that when one is upset, that they're not being mean, but you have to let them be, to heal themselves, give them space to analyze what is the situation they are in, why they are reacting instead of responding. The silence will heal a lot of things, and the time, as brother says, give 10 minutes so that you are conditioning yourself. Or like other sister Sandhya was mentioning about, just leave that space and go out and take a walk, a deep breath. This gives you recovery time and a time with your own self. I personally feel that all my problems, all my hurts, everything is coming from within me because of myself and my attitude of understanding the other person. And it's only me. I have to still work on my own self, and I cannot change other person. I'm sorry, that's my understanding.
It's fantastic what you shared, because part of mastery is being silent. And I'll bring a personal story here. I can see my dear brother and spiritual guru and an evolved being in this conversation, Kanil. So I will share my own story with him, which happened probably more than 10 years ago. I was staying at his house in California, visiting him, sleeping in his master bedroom on his bed. Oh, Kanil doesn't really always sleep in a bed. He prefers to sleep on the floor. But still, I was occupying his master bedroom, eating his food, using his car, uh, using all the amenities, the Wi-Fi, everything in his house. And I was trying to reach out to one of the companies for some business, and I wrote to them, and they had a negative reply for me. And out of his compassion, he decided to write to them as well, trying to see if I could find me an entry. And what happened was that person in the company wrote to both of us, kind of saying, "Look, I told you guys once, and don't write to us." And I was furious. Well, now I understand it came from the rejection of the company more than what Kanil did. He reached out, tried to help me, but it made me so angry that I used every single beautiful word that I knew in the English language, sitting next to him, pretty much feet and 1 foot and a half away from him, and constantly yelled at him. And Kanil did not say anything. And whenever I stopped to take a breath, he looked at me and said, "I'm sorry if I hurt you, but my intention was to help you." That's all he said. And that made me more angry because he got something to say. So I start saying the same list again. Second time I stopped, he said the same thing. And I kept on going. Every 2-3 minutes, look at him and yell at him in filth. And there's no reaction. Nothing. He's just doing his thing. So after a while, I was so angry, and universe guided me to go take a shower, which helped. But in the shower, I felt this crushing pain in my heart. I was like, wow, what an ungrateful person you are. You're sitting here doing all this and you're yelling at this man. This is terrible. So I couldn't bear the pain. I started crying in the shower. I was like, wow, what happened? It just melted away with the water. So I dried myself up, put on some new clothes, came back to the same seat. Kanil's still working on his computer. And I said, "Hey, Kanil, I'm sorry." He looked at me and he said, "What for?" So I said, "For, saying all these nasty things, and I was way out of line, and you don't deserve it, and it was my fault, and I'm sorry." And he said, "Well," he said, "all I saw was a skeleton and some skin just making noise. It was just making noise, just yapping away. So if you really want to apologize, you could apologize to the environment for disturbing it, but nothing happened to Kanil." So that was profound. And so I understand the value of saying something, and also afterwards keeping your peace and letting me cool down. So this was a profound lesson that I learned, and he had the courage as a master to hold his space, because he could easily kick me out and I would be homeless in pretty much a matter of 2 minutes. so this is how he taught me the importance, and also it helped me to forgive myself because of his way of holding the space and saying, "Hey, you don't owe me an apology." It relieved me of the tension of the guilt that I was feeling right away. And we could now talk about it and laugh about the situation we had together. So his ability to forgive helped me to forgive myself. So that was something that changed me a lot.
Hey, Saha,
Yes, Kanil.
can I add something? Thanks for
Sure.
remembering it. That's
Yes,
how
go
we've
ahead.
been reflecting to each other being a guru. But as you were saying that, a thought came, download. I think you're the one who can implement it, and it could be a new arena of expansion. All this is true, what we are saying. Something said, ask Saha to try a new experiment on how to heal the mind.
Wow.
We are ourselves, everything, but we have never given a thought, how could we heal the mind? Talk to the mind and say, hey, can we do it together? It's just a suggestion that came down, dear brother.
So to meditate on a new way of
Healing
dealing
the
with the
mind,
mind.
yes. And you do it together, mind and you. The inner, the ET is eternal one, and the mind will work together. Healing, both are attempting in the same direction, but the goal is to heal the mind, and that will take all the illusions, delusions, and ignorance that we chose to play. Gone
Yes, for
forever.
sure. Yes, like what we did yesterday is
Yes.
consciously sending love from your heart to your own mind,
There you
because
are.
the mind seems to get the bad rep all the time. We all
Yes.
blame the mind, and the guy never gets pat on the shoulder, and which is very unfair because the mind is doing so much for us, and because of the nature of the ego, and that's also there for a reason, we always just blame the mind. But ego will only respond, especially right now, only to love, because the ego also wants to evolve as our consciousness goes higher. That too wants to go home. So it's something that instead of blaming the ego and try to crush it or kill it or bury it or disable it, it'll recede on its own when it feels the power of love. So that's where we are heading. Perhaps we'll do another meditation on that later on. There was already a request from Sister Rama to do that, but I didn't feel guided to do that again today. So we will look in for another time to do that. Thanks, Kanil.
Yes,
Yes,
and
here.
go
Okay,
ahead.
go on, please. Yes, here. This was in my experience. So one time I was the victim, and other time I became the ego somehow. So is that I'm doing all these things? This question came to me when my mother asked me. So are you considering our love towards you? Are you doing anything for us? Like that she was asking. And here I'm sitting and sending love to all the world.
Yeah.
So the question popped up in me. So I am not able to love my mother who is in my home, and she was complaining that to me. So I am that unable to do that. So the one who is loving me so much, even to them I'm not able to send a love. Then how am I sending the love to all the entire world? Love and light, what I'm talking. So that really put me in a greater toll and a greater test, I have to say. I was asking Swami or God, whatever, am I really am I ego? I'm feeling all that I'm doing what? In that part, I'm missing you. These were questions, and it was a bigger downpour of tears, continuous. It was continuous, and I am seeing around me all in that toll. That was happened in a day, and again that is why I felt your meditation very important yesterday. So in that meditation you told you have to send love to your ego also. Whatever you are thinking, whatever the mind, whatever the ego, send that love from your heart. It's okay. That was a wonderful thing which has happened, which I came tuned up and able to listen yesterday. Yes, thank you a lot. And because of that, the entire day today was a wonderful day. In that process, I'm able to forgive whatever may be the reason for me to feel like that and cry like that. I'm able to forgive because that love has extended from the heart to all other parts. And that love carried the entire day today, and I'm able to feel in that love. And all the Rudram chantings, I'm able to feel that energy, and through that, again, I'm able to access to my inside. Thank you a lot. So it is really important, as you are saying, where we are each moment or where we are each hour. Thank you. And here, integrated awareness. So when we are in a group, it spreads to others also what we are feeling. That's what I am seeing. So it is very important for us to really feel what in which frequency we are in. And yes, as Jayashri sister has told, silence is a wonderful healer. And I just went into that silent mode, and that helped a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot.
You're
And
welcome.
also the Julia's silence. It was like, oh my God, what all this is going on? All are so silent. Why I'm like this? So let me go into silence also. So that silence really healing. And in that space, again, we can reclaim our, what I have to say, the love and light within us, and we can spread that to all. And it's the magic. The one who questioned yesterday, today she was happy.
Very good. So glad to hear that. And yeah, when it comes to forgiving our ego, because most of the time, ego never gets a compliment. It always gets the blame. We easily pass it on to ego. Oh yeah, it's because of ego. And it never gets appreciated for the role it's playing in our ascension. So, and when we start forgiving, we can't forgive everyone, but not our ego. You know, it's not right. It's not complete. So the only way is to recognize and it's playing its role and to send it love. And through love, it will start receding, and it will let the heart take control. Because heart-centric living is where we are going. And an ego will gracefully recede when it is receiving love in the process too. It'll have more confidence in the heart because it kind of feels like, heart, what do you know? You're always soft. Let me take care. That's the way ego works, right? So, but when it understands and feels the power of the heart, it will gracefully recede and say, all right, now I see your strength, the divine feminine power, and I will retreat. So this is how we will find balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So it's a graceful transition. It doesn't have to be a conflict anymore. It doesn't have to be one or the other anymore. There's no polarity. It's that beautiful mending of the two that we're going to find glory in. So yes, silence is fantastic in a situation because there's nothing to really latch on to. If not, each other word that is being said in return could be used as another trigger. So maintain that. It's good for both parties. It allows the one to not react and the other one to just come to a halt on their own and understand it was not so smart to do that. Only when we understand how much energy we are losing from being angry, then we understand the stupidity of being angry. And I can tell you this from being a master of being, in anger, how much more energy I have now than just wasting it. So beautiful. I'm glad we all having this conversation because we all can learn from this together because it's the same struggles we all have. So absolutely beautiful. And Rama, keep on practicing that, and you will find more peace and more love coming through you. Bless you all.
Thank you, Saira.
Sairam.
Brother Saha, but
Yeah.
isn't it that sometimes silence can be more damaging?
Sorry, what we mean, what she means, what I mean, is you know when so in the example you gave, you're giving abuse, you're giving anger, etc., and the other person is being silent. That's fine. I think that works because it serves not to ignite the fire and make it bigger. But when there is some cause of anger, there's some disagreement, whatever, or there's something going on, there's some issue to be dealt with, and there's just silence, that just makes it worse.
Yeah, that's what we found.
And I find that actually you should just open up, go into your heart space and open up and share and let it out. So maybe with cross purposes, I mean, that's my experience. I don't like that. I think silence is worse.
Well, thing is, the silence is not because you're approving of something or you're afraid of something. You're just giving both people or whoever the group of people time to regroup, because it's like you can't, whatever you're going to say at that time is coming with a huge emotional charge, and unless we have mastered the technique like a great yogi where you could say one word and then it'll neutralize, it's better to keep quiet, because what happens is in the anger we tend to pick and choose words, just like modern day media just pick something and only highlight on that and take away from the total experience. So you say, oh my God, you said this word once again, you understand what it means, and we'll go after that one word but not in the full context. Or we will pick and choose the points that we want to exert our opinion on and say, you said this. I'm telling this because I used to do the same thing. This is how I used to argue. So the tendency is that if you try to join, have a conversation on it right away, there's a greater chance of it becoming an argument and not really resolving anything. So giving yourself a timeout, that is a silent. Doesn't mean you're silent forever. When people have calmed down, you could go back and say, you know what, this happened, and then you're both at a better position to really hear what the other person is saying. But if you right away try to explain your position, the other person is not even in a position to even hear what you're saying. It's just noise. So just being silent is just giving both parties some time to calm down, and it's like, when if you're playing a volleyball game, right, you're getting 3-4 points against you, they'll call for a timeout to break the momentum, and you'll huddle around and you'll go back into the game. Same in most sports we do that. So it's like that. So you just break that momentum and the chance of getting into a bigger argument, giving yourself some space.
Yes.
That's all it is. Doesn't mean you never voice yourself. No.
Yeah, no, agreed about the time out space. And we give time out of 10 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever. But then it's when that silence goes on and on and on, it can drag on for days, and that's not so good, right?
Oh, no, definitely not.
So
definitely
that's
not.
the only point.
Yes, okay. I've made that mistake too. In fact, it makes it more uncomfortable because it's like a volcanic eruption and you're trying to stop it. And you waste so much more energy trying to contain that. And no, it's not. You have to deal with it, but deal at the time when you are in a better position to have a conversation instead of a huge argument.
Yes, agreed. Shilpa just wants to read out some of the chat questions. Can
Yes,
she
I
do
will.
that? They're not from,
Sure.
not from her, but they're
It's from a person, Govinda Sai. He's on his
she.
iPhone.
She.
Or is it
Ah,
she? I'm
yes.
not sure.
Okay. It's
Have you
about
been
how
Yeah,
teenagers and uncertainty. Okay.
yeah.
Say teenagers like us. So going to Sai, am I assuming that you are a teenager, or did I get the wrong idea from the message?
I think he's or she's not available to speak. They can only text because it's written at one
Okay.
point. Someone is
Yeah.
reading the chat. I can't speak. I can only text.
Okay.
I think she's the parent of the teenager.
Okay. Because she said something about also people like
She's
you
telling
who are,
she is a teenager.
yeah, everything and do all wrong things. And I'm having difficulty understanding the text. Like this is the problem with text, because I don't know what's the question, what's the observation in things, and hurt people, saying it is karmic. Again, silence cannot be escapism or block people to avoid. See, this is I'm afraid I can't answer these because I don't know what the question is really. Like what are they trying to find a solution to here? I prefer the question being asked, so at least I understand from the tone. Where if anybody else can really understand it, I would appreciate if you understand what's being communicated here. There's so much of things going on, but I don't know.
They're saying that her mom is on her way to come and explain to us. But I think maybe you can start with her first question is, can you explain to us teenagers how uncertainty is killing us and how to cope and how to envelope with 100% love 24/7?
The body.
Yeah, the entire body with love. So maybe, yeah.
Another one she was telling is
Yeah, because the
how we
thing is,
can.
I'm trying to understand where they are in their level of awareness, because the previous question, the ones that after the comments were like saying something about what about karma, or God is hurting, God is killing. I wasn't sure how to really understand that. So, but do you have any idea on that too, so I could give a better answer,
No.
which
I
will
think wait
serve
for
the
her
best?
mum to come and explain. She's on her way. That might be clearer.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when we got a lot of questions, it's difficult kind of sometimes for people to formulate the question. It becomes
Yes.
an opinion, an observation, and in that somehow the question was meant to be asked, but it's not really there. So
Brother
The
Saha,
first
can
part
I?
of question which I got from her is, so there is so much of uncertainty. How can we escape from that? And how can we surround ourselves with 24/7 love and not able to love the person who is in home? That was her first part of question. And how do we face this challenge in daily life? How much I got from her chat.
okay.
And the
Okay, that makes
second part,
mm-hmm.
yeah. If okay, the first part if answered, then I can say the second part too.
Yeah. Somebody else just said right at the same time as Ramadevi. I couldn't catch. Somebody else was saying something too, the same time as Rama.
Sorry, Brother Saha. I was just trying to say while we wait, can I share a couple of things? I was just wondering.
Sure.
But
Please go ahead, sister.
So about what Brother Kanil said, that is actually true. It's part of quantum healing, about the mind, trying to heal the mind and to give it positive reinforcement. That has yeah, like you're a quantum healer too, so that is proven, and we know that healing takes by positive intentions, and unfortunately the negative emotional circuits are 5 times stronger. So the moment we feel down or we get a negative thought, or we know that there is something that needs to be healed, giving it a positive reinforcement that, yes, I want to heal, set up the intention and say, I want to heal my emotions, I want to heal my thoughts, I want to heal my mind. That definitely helps, but it needs some time. It doesn't happen with one sitting, but it definitely happens. And that is one way that people have cured themselves of not just mental, but even physical illness as well. That has happened. It's been reported. There have been quite a few case reports about that. And the second thing I wanted to share was in neuroscience, we do know that there is a lag time between the stimulus that we get either from outside or inside. For example, if someone is trying to project their anger or yelling at us or anything. So there is about a 500 millisecond lag between the time we get that stimulus and we can respond to them. So what we could do is if we are into meditation, this response time comes down to 200 milliseconds. So the 500 milliseconds is for the ego to respond. Whereas for the Atma self to respond, it takes that much less time. And we can reach out to that and respond in a different manner rather than from an ego space. So meditation definitely helps prevent that vicious cycle of negative emotional responses and some of the problems that we are facing. And I'm trying to experiment with that myself, and I found it helpful.
Okay. Yes, it's and then I think what matters at the end is the intention and the effort that we put in, sister. It's so good that when we understand and in that introspection, you know, because sometimes the slightest things that when we find out what causes us to become imbalanced, it sheds so much light, and you go, wow. And it's so much better when you discover it on your own than somebody else trying to point it out, because then the ego is how to say, less resistant, because you're finding out in the privacy of your home. It's not somebody else pointing it out for you. so it's a nice way of finding it out and working on it. So beautiful. Yes, thanks for sharing that. And instead of reacting, we start responding, and that's how we can grow.
Sorry, Brother Sahazai. Sorry about that. I just got caught up. Thank you so much for doing the sessions. Just wondering, the question that I know my son had was about the teenagers. Nowadays everything is, not much outside going on. So everything is inside that cell phone and stuff like that. So yeah, somebody also put up that question. How is that, if the addiction is like that, how do you, take over that? Can I just ask one by one? Because there's so many questions. Can I just go one by one? First question is, how do you, disengage them from kids being addicted to phones? Can you hear me?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Could you repeat, please?
Sure. No, my first question is, as somebody has also put it in the chat box, how do you abstain or, give the limitations as to how much they can be on the technology in these days, especially with the lockdown, for the teenagers specifically? Other than the homework and...
Can it be started with a question first asked by your son rather than others?
Okay. Yeah, I think that is also one of the questions. But yeah, the thing is, I think you want to find out how the uncertainty, the college or school, or how should you cope up? Basically, yes, karmic, and basically, yeah, everybody is coping up this field. But there are a lot of teenagers out there. They, some of they can't cope up, and they end their life too. There are a lot of things happening. So that was number one question. Number two is, how do you envelop the entire 100% of love in the human body all the time, 24/7, including doing bhajans and Vedam, whatever, still, how do you keep it going all through? And then the constant thinking of Swami is always there. But even though, you do what Swami is telling you to do, still that 24/7, it's not happening, that one. And then also the other question was, people, it's easy to love and support or be thought, word and deed towards other people very easily, other than your family members, because it's brand new person, and then it's always it's easier to follow those teaching cycles elsewhere than at home. And I think what else he meant, hope someone is reading the chat. Okay, are we going to have sessions like this? Oh yeah, that is just, I think it really helps. I don't know, it was just a couple of days that he's been listening. So are you planning to have entire year, or is it just once a month, or carry on? I mean, because there's going to be more challenges. So this is regenerating. And then what are the other people you are doing okay. Then people like you, I'm sure everybody's in their own journey towards the different roads that they are taking. Some might be very ahead, some might be in the middle, some might be in the lag, in the back. And it doesn't matter with the age group, but it's you conscious with the God. But they take control of it. They think they're the God, and God has told them to do this, and it's all for you meant to be, and this is karmic, and all this pinpointing as if they take the ownership. See how you're talking, it's totally different from people who have in your journey.
All
They
right.
talk ownership.
Okay, so let's get to the bottom of this. All these questions come from one thing. If you understand your God to begin with, and you have power, okay, most of these questions drop off right away. Now, I know it's a hard thing to believe right away, but the first thing I'm going to ask you is this. Talk about teenagers, talk about cell phones. My first question to you, you don't have to answer me here, but just the idea for you to think about. Okay, this is not a trick question. We don't have to even join in this. What I would suggest to you, rather than asking from me, from anyone else, how much of a friend are you to your teenager? I'm not expecting an answer from you here. When you have time, just think about it and say, are you guys really friends? Because a teenager needs a friend in order to grow. They need friendship. They don't need authority. They don't need guidelines on how to do things, what not to do, and how to be a good boy or a good girl. No. The most important thing for them is for them to be validated. Okay, that instead of saying, well, you're this because you're a teenager. Well, we were all teenagers at some point. We all spent hours in front of a mirror fixing that one little strand of hair with so much gel on it. So first thing you got to understand is, on your own, whether we have these conversations or not, is, are you being a friend to your teenager? Not a mother, a friend. And where he or she can talk to you about anything. He's not talking about what you got for your math exam. No, it's not that. They're biologically going through changes in their body, and they cannot find the answers to what's happening, especially right now in society. So many things are going on, lots of information, uncertainty. So are you being a friend? So this is what I would tell you to look into, because now with restrictions, people are spending more time at home. Husbands are finding new appreciation for their wives. Wives are finding new appreciation for their husbands. Parents are finding how much fun it is to be with their children. So it's a learning curve for everyone. So with this time, lots of people say, oh my God, my kids are stuck on a cell phone. Well, where did they start that habit? How did they get into it? There is a less chance that they would want to disappear into that world if the family had good communication skills. So it's not that a teenager just randomly picks up a cell phone and disappear and close their door and come back to eat and then go back. It's a lot to do with parenting. So I would encourage you to just take some time off and to see how much of a friend are you to your teenage son or daughter, and how much of time you guys actually have a conversation, not about what they're going to become when they grow up or what they get for their school, but just sharing ideas, asking what they like, what they think about the whole thing.
Can I just interpret? I'm sorry, because it's not just our kids; it's like more kids that, since I deal with
Doesn't
some
matter. Just focus on your kids. Just focus on your kids. The other kids, other people's kids are their problem. Just focus on your kid.
Yes, even if you do it, even if your friend, anything, if you do, whatever you're saying, it is happening. But the way it is locked down, it's not usually done. Basically, everybody is busy catching up their own things. So, of course, family time is there between whatever time, right? Playing and sitting and talking and watching a movie. Everybody is doing that. Most of the families are binding more stronger these days. But my question to you is in general, even otherwise, even the parents giving all the love and, whatever you're saying, still the technology world they are in right now, it's not as you and me are in those days, it is, right? So it's different. So we got to acknowledge that they're going through quite a rough times, and so it's definitely not a parenting skill. It's something to do with the outside world right now present, especially more with the news and media, and how to engage their time without their friends, sports.
I'm sorry I lost you there, but just to wrap it up, we're here to make progress. So what I would suggest is that you focus on your own families, not what the generally teenagers are doing. Just focus on yours and see how much love you can add, because a teenager can only grow with love, not by putting restrictions and trying to condemn them or not validate their opinions. So just have the dialogue, just create the space. That's all I can share, because if not, the purpose of the group is not going to be served if you're just trying to find why things are not working, because things always work when you have the right intent and the effort. And that's what we're here for in this group. um, so focus on what you can do and not on what is not working, and always keep that focus in your family nucleus, not what's happening in the outside world. And I hope you're still here and you got to hear that. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, please.
I don't know whether it's relevant or not, but I'm just going to go ahead and ask anyways. You can say whether it is
Sure.
or not. You know, I'm a senior. I'm a senior, and so sometimes when people, where I might have to take a test, and when they say that there is a test, butterflies flies in my stomach even at this time. So what do I do? How do I handle? How do I get over the test anxiety?
Are you referring to some kind of a medical test? I could hear the conversation.
Not the medical tests. It's some religious scripture texts and all that. Based on that, some tests and all those things.
Sorry, religious script, is that what you said?
Script based on the scriptures, like what we were taught. Like if they give us a test on that, and when they announce a test date, butterfly starts running in my stomach, circling my stomach. So how do I avoid the test anxiety?
Well, the first thing is if you're doing this, if you're learning this, are you learning this to practice it or to pass the test and say, I got this many marks? Because there are so many people who got lots of A pluses, but they don't practice what they learn. So whatever you learn in the scriptures, if you practice it, okay, then you will not have this anxiety. This number thing is what's causing you the anxiety. How much do you get? It does not demonstrate anything. You could memorize and get 100 out of 100. But when it comes to practicing, you might not even get 30. So it's okay to get 50 on your test, but whatever the 50 you got, but if you're practicing even 1% of that, that's where the true value lies in what you are learning. So don't be bogged down about the numbers. It doesn't mean anything. Even if you take this test or not, the only test if you're going to pass the test of life. And so just start focusing more on practicing what you're learning on a day-to-day basis in your class. Whatever they're teaching you and you're going over, just start using that as a daily practice. And in that, you will slowly, your anxiety of getting a good grade will go away, because a grade is most of the time is not a personal thing. It's just to to feel safe around others. Well, I also passed. I got 90 or I got 100.
That
But it doesn't mean anything.
no, it's just you don't want to fail. That's what it is. Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. Just because you get 100 points, that doesn't mean you have passed the real test. The real test is putting it into practice. So don't worry about it. Just focus on practicing it, because end of the day, what matters is how much you practice and how much this learning has helped you to transform. Uh, so we get so many people, who could pass an exam simply by memorizing, but if it's not causing a transformation, I'm sure the scriptures, when you really practice it, it'll take away the anxiety. It will help you to calm down and have a higher awareness. But if the scripture studying itself is causing you to compete and to prove your validity, then you have to think twice why you're doing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take it easy and have fun. And in that process, you will get the grade that you should get, but more importantly, you will be happier.
Yeah, okay.
Bless you.
Saha,
Yes.
can I address something about children?
Sure, go ahead.
Sahan, what you said was true. How many parents have asked their children one time or another, where did you come from? Where were you before you came into this earth, this lifetime? Why did you come here for? Do you remember your highest mission? You know, Sahan, as well as me, most of the children right now on this planet have come from distant galaxies where even the light has not yet arrived here. They have come here for a reason. And shall I mention about Inge's clip, Sahan, here?
Probably, maybe not today, because that's
No?
that's another
Okay.
one where we have
Okay.
to, it's a whole
Okay.
chapter, I think.
Okay.
Uh,
And then in that case, it's too much labeling going on to the children. Don't do that. Don't touch
yes.
that, so forth. Instead of that, I heard the word, yes, that's their only alternative. It's a family time now. So outlet is get on the cell phone. That's all available. Talk to their friends. So they are most of the time with the cell phone. A very wise mother would say, go to the same child who's using the cell phone many a time. Say, could you help me please? Become a friend, not a parent now. So the child will ask, teenager, in what do you need help? Say, I'm using the cell phone too much. I need some advice from you. How can I reduce the time of using the cell phone? You think the child won't think twice of helping you? Say, let's see, mother. Let's see what we can do together. What you did, the wise mother did was empowering the child. The hidden powers the child has, not knowingly or unknowingly, they have brought these gifts to awaken the sleepy adults. A
Very
wise
true.
mother would choose this to boost the confidence of the child by saying, could you help me? And by doing that, Sahan, you know that you are empowering the child. And they will, when they two together put their heads, start doing it, the more questions the wise mother asks for the child itself to come up with solutions, automatically the inner dweller will open the gifts the child brought and bring forth the divine advice that is more valuable to both of them. And what they are together achieving is silently going deeper within. They started with
Yeah.
the cell phone, but by the time they end up, it'll be both will say, hey, the answers are coming from our hearts. They might even forget the topic cell phones. It's
Yep.
empowering the children by being a friend.
Yeah, that's the sad
That
part.
is
Many.
very much lacking in the whole of the world. They being
Yes.
labeled. You know
Yes.
what labeling means, son? Can you remember when you cooked a meal for the homeless, just for 9 of them, took it, and you told me, Kanil, we must not create a scenario that they are the receivers and we are the givers. So what you do, you took some bowls, everything, and you helped them to serve. And it's never been done that way. You always hand it over to the homeless. They sat next to you and they served the soup into their bowls, and then you sat with them. And one lady asked, homeless lady asked, Sir, how about you? And there was one extra bowl, and you was silent. And what did the lady do? She served a bowl of soup for you, the one who brought the soup. What was the lesson in this? There was no scenario of labeling. They have been labeled thousands of times, silently, intentionally, unintentionally. I am the giver, you are the receiver. But your action that day on your birthday took all those labelings out. Can you remember? July 9, 2018, and
Yep.
how happy they were. And subsequently, when I went them, they asked, where are you? And when I asked, why are you out? He says, that's the only time they feel that they're part of the society. Why? We didn't create any scenario for being to make them label one more time. Same thing applies to children. When a mother says, don't do that, don't do this, they are looking from their perspective of the child, just because they are in a costume called a child's body, not knowing the gifts they have brought to this world. We
Very
have
true.
never allowed, we have never given them a chance. You know, with uh, our friend's case, Almond's daughter, Serena, she never talks anything with spiritual stuff with the mother. Only when she's not there, she's very open to speak with us because
Yes.
she knows she's not being empowered. She's she was a mother is a acupuncturist. One day she told the mother, "Mom, would you allow me to just sit in the room when you treat your subjects of gratitude?" First thing she said, "Are you a qualified acupuncturist?" She said, "No, just let me sit in the room." When she asked, she said, "You will not have to bring your subjects of gratitude," means patients or the clients, many times over, that she can do something silently. But the mother didn't accept it. The gifts the child has. It happens right across the crust of the earth. It's, you cannot
Yeah.
blame the mothers. It is the ignorance, a
Yeah.
lineage of ignorance. These children are the pivotals. We must open the doors, son. So my
Yes.
suggestion is have think of a session, healing sessions for children, like what you are doing for the adults now. Thank you.
Thanks, Kanil. Always sharing the higher perspective. Yes, I feel a lot for the children. It's so unfair that they've been judged by the old paradigm of adult parenting, and they're just making life difficult for both. And it's something that we all have to really think about and say, well, just because they have a physical body that is has spent less time on this planet doesn't mean that we know better. It's evolved souls in them, and they're here to teach us and to help us transform. And we are trying so hard to maintain the way we want things to be because we think we know it all. So so This is where we have to change. Brother Julius, how are we doing with time? And is it time for us to end the session today? Because I remember yesterday around the same time we were winding up. Let me know your thoughts, and if anybody else has any questions before that, we could certainly answer that too.
We have 11 minutes.
Okay, great. The beautiful part is through these conversations, we touch upon so many others, and I kind of like not really having a theme because it always guides us to a part that needs attention. So children and parenting is such a big thing right now because they've got so much to give to us, and we just need to be empty to receive the gifts that they have come here to do that for our own ascension. And it's wonderful if we could really help them do that, because it'll speed up the process for everyone.
Brother, it's really hard. I know we've had this conversation before, but it's hard. The kids these days, or at least our kid, I can only talk about him, has no interest in homework. Maths is done without it working out. It's just done mentally in the head. And if he gets it wrong, well, there's nothing to go back and check to see what he's done. Has no interest in English, in comprehensions, in the assignments, in the homework.
Sorry, Vikash, I lost there in the last 10 seconds. If you don't mind, just repeat.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was saying it's hard. He has, I mean, from our perspective and our experience, he has no interest in homework, no interest in doing an English comprehension, for example, properly. You know, the answers will be like 3-4 words. Maths is done mentally in his head, and it's done, and actually gets it right a lot of the time. So I can't even argue with it. And it's hard. There's a complete disinterest, and you wonder to what extent you should push them. But then, you know, the moment you start pushing them, it feels like, well, you're no longer being a friend. And I suppose the challenge is, well, the question is, let me be clear in the question, because I don't know what I'm questioning, I'm just rambling on. The question is how to balance that being a friend with trying to encourage or enable them to achieve what you think is important, but actually may not be important, but just can't see that.
When you look at your own life, so many things you were pushed to learn. Does it serve any purpose in your current life? That you spend hours mastering, getting A+. Do you even remember any of that stuff? Does it really serve any purpose in what you are doing right now? Or would you rather look back and say, wow, I wish somebody taught me how to manage my emotions better, how to respond instead of react? What would have served a better purpose for you in your own life? The hours of school time and homework, what does it prepare us for? Do we do homework on not complaining, for example, or practicing gratitude? No, it's always to pass some test. And what are these tests? Insignificant stuff for our transformation. If we were, when we were in school, imagine just having 1 day per day, okay, before we knew Swami, like human values, and we were taught that we were God. Imagine how wonderful our lives would have been, how much joy we would have had. Part of the misery is because we were taught all the rubbish, all the useless stuff in the world, and make us compete. Go after this job, get a bigger house. When you get a house, get a wife, whatever, 2 kids, a golden retriever, a boat, a holiday home. No. So, so when you say, well, if you have a good friend and that good friend is always got an agenda, right, a secret agenda, and want to push you, you're not gonna see them as a real friend, because they have something to push you and then see you become something that they approve. So children are the same. if you're gonna be a friend, you gotta be a friend and allow that space for them to grow. It's only hard because you have an idea that you're holding on to is what is right. What should be a good parent, or what should I do for them? Well, the number one thing is love. Everything else is secondary. When you have real love, kids are not bad. They don't need so much discipline. With love, they grow. Everything, even animal responds to love. So it's for us adults to really change our beliefs and say, look, I mean, if, for example, imagine how cool is this? If your son can do math in his head, if I were, I'd say, you know what, dude, can you help me out, do the same thing? Like, I really help me out in my work. Can we have like a, half an hour session every day and you teach me how to do this thing on my head? And you learn from him the technique. But if you're trying to ask him to show his work, he's going to be like, oh my God, my dad's going to make me dumb. I don't need to. The same problem our friend's daughter that Kanil just mentioned had in Denver. Teachers would complain to her and say, look, she's not showing the work. She's like, I don't need to show it. I'll look at the problem and I know the answer. So I suggest if you get that, hey, ask him to teach you that trick. That'll be so much nicer. And it'll keep your brain happy too. So it's harder when we have a certain idea, but all these ideas we had, they're all getting broken down now. Big time. It's all these things we've been taught, we're going to have to let go, including the very degrees that we are having, because none of them took into consideration the power of consciousness. So when we factor that in, if we embrace the truth of consciousness, you could still be a doctor, an engineer, but you will come from a higher perspective. Because that was not there, we are not finding meaning in what we're doing anymore. We can't find that balance from the head, heart, and the hands, because consciousness was not there. So once we put that in, that's where these children are coming from. They're coming from a higher level of awareness. They don't believe in repeating numbers for 30 minutes to memorize something. No. So we have a lot to do. We have to do more homework, not them. and just be humble enough to learn from a great guru who's in a physical body that's probably 1/3 of yours. I enjoy that with kids. You could learn so much from them. In fact, one of the professors I was working with, he told us recently, two years ago, he said, have a mentor who is a current teenager. Do not, go and have a mentor who's 20 years older than you, because they only have their experience. But if you work with a teenager as your mentor, take this kid out for lunch and spend 2 hours, you will learn so much. And it'll be great for your business, because they're the ones who are going to actually one day buy your product. So I firmly believe in that. Their problem solving, the way they think, is so powerful. So instead of trying to teach kids, I think we should be humble enough now to learn from them and just providing them the comforts and love that they need to flourish. And in that, both parties will find great joy.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Be brave.
We should be the parents should be the children, and the children should be the teachers.
Yes, it's not a one-way stream where we unload everything we think is right on them. No, they're not. It doesn't work. It's like your grandfather trying to teach you how to drive from an old stick shift car. This kid's never gonna drive one of those. He's gonna drive a Tesla. So what's the point, grandfather telling, look where the clutch is. You need to know how to control the clutch. If not, the car's going to stall. Well, it's like, Grandpa, I don't need a clutch in my car because it's an electric car. So it's the same thing.
Brother Saha?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is why they say child is the father of man, And I would like to share something that happened in my own life. And I love my child for it. I keep getting these ideas, especially during meditation or whatever, and then I tell my son, And then one day he said, you have all these ideas, but I never see you follow through with it. That stopped me in my tracks one day, you know.
Yes. Yes. They are great mentors.
And that was an eye-opener for me, and I just loved him for it.
Yeah.
Um,
So, I mean, the way they think is amazing. The speed, the processes they got in their heads. We could learn so much. We could learn so much. You just got to be willing to learn from them. And they're going to teach us so many things. They're going to help us actually unlearn. And that's the challenge we have. More than learning, we are unwilling to unlearn because we think what we were taught is the ultimate truth. And I had my little cousin many years ago, 20 years ago, in Madison when he was probably 3 or 4 years old, and he was being asked to do his homework. I think he was 4 or 5, very young. And he kept on asking his mom, Mom, why do we have to do homework? And I could hear her giving all kinds of third-dimensional stories. Well, this is how you do it, and this is why it's important. And he kept on asking the question of why, and why. And she could not. And she's like, just do your homework. And my little cousin said, Mom, we're all going to die one day. What's the point of doing all this homework? And I thought at that time, wow, you know, who spoke through this kid? And I was not even in where I am right now in my spiritual path, but what came through that kid was profound. In other words, Mom, all these nonsense we put in our head, we're all going to die one day. Don't you have something better to learn? That's the message I got from that comment. After everything, we're all going to die one day. What's the point of doing all this homework? So it was profound.
So true, so true. And you know, just this one moment, I felt how I wish I knew a lot of these when he was smaller, and maybe it would have been different. And I just went for one moment, there was a twinge of regret, you know, and then I just stopped myself and I said, well, that is all gone. Maybe he needed to take some part of my learning too and be a part of my learning as well and bear the brunt of it. And I don't know, but I'm thankful for the way things played out, and I'm thankful for the way things are playing out now, and what an amazing group and what an amazing discussion. Thank you, Brother Saha. Thank you
You're
all,
welcome.
I should say. Thank you all. Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. It's always fun, and we unlearn and we learn new things. So unlearning is so important now for all of us, whether it's through children or whether it's any other way, because unlearning is part of letting go. Because we can't be so full and be ready for what's coming our way. Because what's coming our way is nothing that any scientist or any professor can explain. Is way beyond anything that has ever happened. So whatever the projections we make is based on our past information, and it's not going to be true for what we're going to see. So the more we could unlearn and be more flexible and be open, the faster we could embrace that new world. Because so many other topics, but it's just not going to fit into anything that we know right now. They will continue to exist, but with completely different ways. We will still have banks, we will still have supermarkets, we will still have restaurants, but the way they operate is going to be so different than we ever thought was possible. So it's going to be fun. So let's unlearn so we could relearn for the new times that are coming. Bless you all. Brother Julius, looks like we're set to end the session for today.
Sure.
I think we just went over to 12 minutes. Yep.
Yes, we are going to go into Samasta Loka chanting, and we can end the session.
Beautiful. Bless you all, and keep working on whatever the sticky points, and let's grow together.
Thank you. I'll let go off to test anxiety then.
Brother Julius, I have a request. When we chant Samastaloka, we should intentionally think of the mind. Mind also be happy. And son, last note, yesterday, COVID is here for a reason. And absolutely true. At that time I asked Swami, what is the mnemonic? What does it stand for? He didn't tell because you were explaining things. I started driving off and I was at a stop sign and there it came. Consciously open, visualizing intentional divinity.
Sorry, what do you say about Samastaloka?
When we chant Samastaloka, we should intentionally think that of the universe also happy. They are also beings, mind, God cells. They are not something from outside the mind. The spark of divinity volunteer to become the mind and the ego to play the game. So it is our duty now to extend the great attitude, extending Samastaloka. May you, all the minds in the omniverse, also be happy. That's a thought that came now.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. 27 times. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu 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 Samastaloka Sukhino समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु 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 Anyone can chant 27 times.
Samas